remember the island.
So we just got the release of Jupiter's Legacy on Netflix, and it was honestly better than I was expecting. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Brandon, and this is Film Flare, where we discuss anything and everything that makes film and television great. So be sure to subscribe, and let's talk about a great show.
90 years. 90 years, and what do we have to show for it?
Jupiter's Legacy follows the world's first superheroes and their relationships with the new generation of heroes who are struggling to accept the legacy of their parents and their ideals in a changing world with new kinds of enemies, while also just trying to figure out their own way in life. It's based on a comic of the same name created in 2013 by Mark Millar, Frank Quitely, and Peter Doherty for Image Comics. This is a superhero story that doesn't rely on the spectacle of superpowers to be great, and it honestly works just as well without any of the powers. It's really just kids struggling with their parents' expectations and ideals of the world they want to live in, especially because this world and those ideals their parents hold so close to their chest have been outdated for nearly 90 years.
I am sorry. You think you have to carry 120 years of his bullshit so Daddy will love you again.
And because the story does put the focus on the human beings behind the superheroes, it kind of feels like their powers were a bit of an afterthought. All the characters have a weird grab bag of powers that makes them way too overpowered on paper, yet leaves them feeling very, very underpowered in the actual fights we see. The dialogue and exposition also aren't always the best and really do feel a bit undercooked at times. But that really just makes this feel more like a comic book. And that coupled with the over-the-top costumes and display of powers really makes the superhero element of the show feel like comic panels come to life. But outside of the action elements and hero moments, there's actually a lot of really interesting storylines running through the show. From Chloe's strange relationship with her dad, who's more interested in being a superhero leader rather than a father.
The suit and cape are the real you, Dad. Not this.
Or Grace's long-held beliefs being challenged as she tries to reconcile them with her relationships to those around her who just grew up in a completely different era.
It's not as black and white as it used to be.
The personal relationship between all of these characters are really what kept me coming back from episode to episode. The flashbacks in the story were also a great way not only to explore these characters' origins, but to really highlight the differences between these generations of characters and the forces that shaped them into the people we see on screen. And at times, when the present day story started to stagnate a bit, I actually began to like the flashbacks a bit more, especially in the later episodes. Now, although there is a lot to like about the present day story as well, I couldn't help but feel like the main mystery of the story really didn't matter at all, at least not until the very last episode. It is a great catalyst for a lot of the conversations that go on throughout the show, but the mystery itself has almost no bearing on the actual story. And while that ending may have been shocking, it didn't really do anything to conclude any of the stories that we were watching. All it did was let the audience know who the real bad guy is, but the revelation did absolutely nothing to change any of our characters. And because of that, this final episode felt more like a mid-season finale or even a penultimate episode rather than the grand season finale it was supposed to be. But on the bright side, there are some really interesting plot threads left to be explored in the next season for a number of different storylines. And with that final reveal, maybe the next season will be able to pick up the pace from the first. All in all, the first season of Jupiter's Legacy was a really interesting show that was a lot better than I was expecting, and in a bunch of ways that I really was not expecting. It's got a solid foundation with really interesting characters played by really good actors, and a lot of room for great storytelling. Outside of a few kinks that could be ironed out, I really like the show and I'm looking forward to the next season. But what are your thoughts on Jupiter's Legacy? Let me know in the comments below. It's available now for streaming on Netflix. But before you go and watch that, please do be sure to give this a like and subscribe for more reviews like this. We've got new content coming out every Tuesdays and Fridays. But until next time, have a great day, and don't forget to watch a great movie. Bye.
The world is changing. So I guess we're gonna have to change with it.